Hello there and welcome back to my channel. So today I just wanted to answer a question that I do get, I don't get it a lot, but I've had it a few times, and whenever I've had this question I've always answered it, but I just thought it would definitely be worth, I think, touching upon in a video, because I know that some people are kind of interested in this, so I wanted to let you know. So the question is, do you still have the bunnies? Because I had two bunnies, or actually most of the point my boys had two bunnies, but we do not have the bunnies anymore. So I am just going to tell you where the bunnies are, because I don't want you to worry, but it's a bit of a sad story this as well, but anyway, I loved the bunnies. I loved the bunnies. I got them for the boys, but I fell in love with the bunnies because they are such beautiful animals, and I would highly recommend bunnies to probably everyone, apart from, I probably wouldn't necessarily be so enthusiastically recommending them for families that have very young kids, because bunnies get very easily scared. Like, they are quite jittery. They want peace, they want quiet, they don't want to be held, they don't want to be touched, they don't want to sit on your knee, you know, they don't want to be pet, they just want to do their own thing. So I would say bunnies are like the ultimate introverts, and for that I relate to them like so much. The boys fell in love with the bunnies, absolutely fell in love with the bunnies, and I fell in love with the bunnies a lot more than I thought I would. So we all love the bunnies, but the important point of this is the bunnies were sold to us as being mini bunnies, and I look back now and I think, is that even a thing? Is it even a thing? And I have seen like tiny little bunnies, you know, you get like, there's so many different breeds of bunny, like it's amazing. If before I had bunnies, I used to think, oh, there's just one bunny, there's just a bunny, but there's not. Like, there's like hundreds of different breeds, and I don't know if a mini bunny is a thing. I don't know if that's a thing, but I'm starting to think it's not a thing, because we decided before buying the bunnies that we were going to keep them indoors. They were going to be free roaming bunnies, and that was mainly down to the fact that we didn't have like any outdoor space. And yes, you may ask, well, could you not have like built like an outdoor like run, or could you not have had like a hutch outdoors? But I live in Manchester. It's super rainy here, and it is cold for the majority of the year. And I know that bunnies, they're made for cold weather. I get that. They're made to live outdoors. But I would have just felt a bit bad, honestly. But the main reason why I didn't want them to go outdoors was because we have so many foxes around here. So many foxes. I'm part of a neighbourhood, you know, like a WhatsApp group that was created during lockdown, and I know that many of my neighbours' their cats have been killed by foxes, which is the reason why we don't even let Dude out. Dude's our cat, by the way, but we don't let Dude go out. He's an indoor cat along with the Sphinx cats, because there's foxes everywhere around here. So I don't know, it just freaks me out a bit. So before we bought the bunnies, I knew that the only way we could have them were if we went for mini bunnies, which I feel like such a dick saying now, because I just think to myself, mini bunnies, like, did I fall for that one? I fell for that one. But I was thinking, if we have mini bunnies, they can roam about most of the time. They can just like free roam about the living room, and then the rest of the time they can just be chilling out in their hutch. And we got like an extra large hutch, but which I thought, if they was minis, that would be ample space, especially considering the fact that the majority of the time they were going to be free roaming about and have the run of their living room. So anyway, we got the bunnies. All was good. All was really good to begin with. Even my husband, like, he fell in love with the bunnies, and they would be hopping about. My boys would frequently try and pick them up and stroke them and cuddle them, but we very quickly learned that the bunnies did not want that. So the boys, you know, they would just enjoy them. We would just enjoy looking at the bunnies, because that's kind of all we could really do with the bunnies. I know that there are some people that have bunnies and they have such a close bond, and they do, you know, the bunnies like really trust them, and that maybe, like, I'm not saying that everyone who has a bunny has like a very hands-off relationship, because everyone's like relationship with their pet is completely different. So I don't want to cast judgments on everyone just because of the experience we had. But also I do feel like our household is very energetic, very kind of, it's spontaneously loud, and I say that because it's kind of chilled out and quiet, but spontaneously one of my boys will just screech or shout, or, you know, they're playing indoor football. There's just a lot going on in the household. It's very active. You know, we have young boys, so, and then there's me and Honeys, you know, we're all very active. Anyway, so we got the bunnies and they were free roaming. For the first like 3 months, everything was great. But then the bunnies started to grow. They started to get bigger. They were... Right, and this is the reason why, and I'll just give you a spoiler. We rehomed them to one of my good friends. So the reasons why we just came to the decision to rehome them there were a couple of different reasons, honestly, but the main reason was they were so destructive. And I'm in no way criticizing the bunnies. They're just doing what bunnies do. Bunnies have teeth that continuously keep growing, so it is just part of their kind of DNA that they need to chew everything in sight. That's just built into them, so they're only doing what bunnies are doing. But basically, like, we had, because I know you're probably saying, well, why did you not know about this beforehand? Like, why did you not like protect your cables and like do as much bunny proofing as possible? We did. Not only did we put one layer of cable protection on our cables, we had three layers of the highest rated cable protector from Amazon. 3 layers of it on each of our electrical cables. Oh, that's no challenge for the bunnies, no challenge. They literally bit through our Ethernet cable 3 or 4 times. I work from home. The internet, it just stopped. I couldn't work from home anymore. They chewed through our Sky TV cable. They chewed through multiple iPhone charging cables. And honestly, like, if it was just the cables, I could probably deal with that because I'd fallen in love with the bunnies at this point. But we got to the point where we were worried about the safety of our house. We had to think about the safety of the boys because they were just chewing through these cable protectors and the cables at such a rate. You know, you have to get to a point where you're not just getting like frustrated because of the destruction. You're genuinely like thinking this is a health and safety risk now. And again, no criticism of the bunnies. Like, they are doing what bunnies are built to do. Okay, so then the bunnies decided the electrical cables, that was not enough for them. No, that was not enough. They started chewing through the walls, and literally there's one corner of the room which we discovered at a later date, because it's like we've got like these benches that sit under the window, and there's like a tiny little there's a little path, and there's a corner, and they literally bit through the plaster right like all the way back to the brick. I'll try, and if I can put up any pictures or videos, I will do. Like, I know I don't feel like I'm just like, I think part of me does feel like I'm probably making a bit of a case here, because I don't want people to think, oh my gosh, she got those bunnies and is she cruelly like discarded of them, because that is definitely not what happened. And I want this video as well in a way to be a bit like a word of warning, right guys? I would definitely say, unless you've got like suitable outdoor space to house bunnies, if they are going to be free roaming in your house, like, if you can, like, if you've got a room free, just put them in that room. Or I don't think it's that realistic to think like they're going to be in your living room, because at first as well, we got this like playpen for them with this little wooden wall that went round it. Very quickly they could just jump over that, so it's not like you could even try and, you know, keep them in one section of the room but have them free roaming in like one section. You just can't do it, and then there's only so much you can realistically do. Anyway, right, so they were sold to us on them as being like minis. Oh my gosh, like, they were so big. By the time they left us, they were big, and it just felt cruel to at any time shut them in their hutch, because it was way too small. It was just not fair for them to be in that size of hutch as big as they were. But then the conflict we had then was, well, they're roaming round and they're just chewing through everything. And you know, I'm not super house proud by any stretch of the imagination. I like things to be organised, and I do like things to be quite clean. But I'm not one of these people that spends all day cleaning and like gets super stressed if things are not like perfect. Like, if I was that kind of person, I probably would have had a heart attack and died by this point. So, and I have young kids, so I'm not super bothered about the house being cleaned or tidy, but it's just when you work hard and you want to have a kind of nice house to live in, when things are constantly being destroyed or chewed through, you do get to a point where you very quickly realise, well, either we just carry on like this and just keep replacing cables and keep potentially having like this health and safety fire risk of like cables being chewed through. Like, we're talking alive electrical cables, and it's not just like our health and safety that I was thinking of, it's the bunnies. I don't know, how did they not electrocute themselves? I do not know. They're kind of like mutant bunnies or something. I have no idea. They were literally chewing through live cables and they did not electrocute themselves. But then I had a fear as well that one day I would come home, maybe like after the school, and me and the boys, we would be skipping into the house and there'd be like a dead bunny there on the living room floor. It was just getting really hard realised that I just had to make a choice. Either we keep the bunnies, and I know you're probably thinking, could you not have built somewhere outdoors? And yes, it was a question in my mind, but being completely honest, I just didn't really want to at this point, because although my boys, they really did love the bunnies, there was no interaction, there's no engagement, there's nothing. You're just looking at the bunnies. You're looking at the bunnies. And believe me, I love the bunnies. And when I'd actually made the decision, right, we're going to rehome them, not only so that, we can have an easier life, but it's so the bunnies could have a nicer life. Because really, I just wanted them to have a nice, enjoyable life. I'd be lying though if I said it wasn't mainly because I wanted us to have a nice, enjoyable life in a house that, was not being continually destroyed. I'd be completely a lying dick if I were to say anything otherwise. I love the bunnies and I want the best for them, but obviously my priority is with my family, so right, okay, so the bunnies, right now the bunnies live in a loft. They have a loft to themselves, and don't worry, it's suitably ventilated, and the bunnies are so happy. They're doing so well. Yeah, that I just wanted to tell you what happened, and also just to give you a bit of advice. If I would not recommend bunnies, I think you definitely, and this is something that I hold my hands up to, even though I did a feck load of research, I still don't think I truly understood how much bunnies like to chew through things. I obviously didn't truly, understand the assignment there with that one. I would just say that unless you've got like an internal room that you could just literally bunny proof, no electrical cables, you don't really like having plaster on the wall in that room, you're happy for it to go back to the brick, you don't really want any carpet in there, they will chew through anything. So unless you've got an internal space, or you've got a really nice outdoor, secure, safe, weatherproof space, then I wouldn't recommend don't just buy bunnies and think, oh, they're just gonna free roam around the living room. When I look back, I think, how naive was I? I honestly did. And I think, life is all about trying something, thinking that you did all your research, and then 6 months down the line, having a rude awakening when you realise that research that I did, it probably was not enough. And I think there's always that thing, right? When you want something, or you've really got your mind set on something, then well, as humans, I think we all tend to do the confirmation bias thing. So we'll tailor our search or research to articles that we know are going to support our beliefs, because I think sometimes you may type in something can bunnies realistically free roam around your living room? You may get a list of articles, and 9 out of the 10 might say definitely not, no, if there's anything that you actually like having in that room, just expect that it will be chewed through. And there might be one article that says, oh yes, definitely, of course, this would be a great idea. You're going to click on the one that says, oh yes, this would be a great idea, and you're going to just dismiss all of the other ones in favour of the one positive one that supports your predisposed belief, because you really want to do what you want to do. And I think that's what happened with the bunnies. Probably there were probably loads of articles and information out there saying no, don't do it, no, do not do it, but I just ignored them all for the one that probably said, yeah, go for it, why not, do it. I just wanted to let you know. I wanted to be obviously upfront, honest. I didn't really think that anyone would be that interested, but like over the past couple of months, I've had questions and I wanted to address them and I wanted to be honest and as always and just tell you like this is what happened. I made a mistake. We make mistakes. I'm sure I'm not the first mom to buy bunnies because their kids really wanted bunnies and to think that they could free roam around the living room and to believe that the bunnies were minis and they were only going to stay like really small. And then then she realized, oh my gosh, these bunnies, they're getting massive now, they're huge, oh my gosh, and they keep chewing through all of our cables. I'm worried the house is just gonna be set on fire any second now. Oh my gosh, they're gonna chew through the brickwork any second. I mean, I'm sure I'm not the only mum that this is like that has gone through this, you know what I mean? So I'm sure I'll make more mistakes again in the future. I'm sure it will happen many times over. So it's what can you do, guys? But the main thing is the bunnies, they are fine and they have been well looked after. That was my main thing. It was my main worry. Like once I'd actually made that decision, right, the bunnies, we cannot house them anymore. Like we cannot. It broke my heart. I was literally in tears. And I am never in tears. It takes so much for me to cry, like so much for me to cry. But that night when I was texting my friend and saying, right, if you don't mind, like I think it's the right thing for them to move in with you, I was like, oh, like heaving, crying in the bed. And then the next day I couldn't look at the bunnies in the eye because it was just making me cry. And on the day when they were actually, moving out, I was so sad. So it was not an easy decision at all. It was not. Because I do, you become attached to things. It wasn't like, oh, these bunnies aren't working out for me anymore, let's just get rid of them. It was not like that at all. It was so sad. Because, of course, they become part of your family. But it was just, I could see that long term, it was not working. Oh, my gosh. It's tough enough being like a mum of kids without having bunnies chewing through everything, So anyway, guys, I am going to go, but I would definitely recommend if you're thinking of getting bunnies, definitely just make sure that you do all of your research and look into those articles that you don't really want to look into because they're probably going to tell you, don't get bunnies. Don't get bunnies and don't keep them indoors. Have bunnies if you've got an outdoor space, but if you don't have an outdoor space, don't get the bunnies. Okay, so guys, I am going to go, but if you've got any questions, please don't hesitate to let me know. I'm always happy to help or give you any advice from things that I have learned from. Like mistakes I've made, I want to share so that hopefully other people don't make those same mistakes. So anyway, guys, I'm going to go. Thank you so much for watching and I will hopefully see you in the next one.